Michael, that's what makes biotechs difficult. They certainly are. Am I still in PNW? I exited PNW and I took the profits in my on my straight calls, Scott. I took $1.40 profits in PNW. I still like it. I get out because I just don't like the market here. And I was happy with a $1.40 profit per contract on those things. That's the running. Only need a $7 drop on the hog to break even on your spec puts. Yeah, that's easy. No problem in that, considering it's up 17% today. That's why those things are speculative. On the bottom of the gear graph, do I want the line to be turning down for shorts? Yeah, typically here you want to show. I mean, this is a SPY short setup here. But the steeper this gear is, um, the better the weakness is. The more the weakness is, this is much more rapid selling. Over here, this is just chop when it's just chopping around like this. But this is an indication of weakness. Came right here. That was actually a good SPY super system trade, and it made profits right here. But I still think this is very bearish. Now it could turn right back up again, but for right now, this is pretty bearish on the SPY. And if I look at the Qs, also looks pretty bearish. The T2104, which is the cumulative volume average, is still bearish. So, and if I look at it over here, the dollar sign VOLD, and you can see that it's become bearish. It's kind of flat. Now it's bearish. It's a little bearish. Now it's flattened a little bit, but it gives you an indication of what the majority of the money is doing. And right now, the majority of the money is selling. PNW bid 515, ASCO 505 on PNW 180s. Not too bad. As I see, you got it. Just the 515, the 505 are reversed on the bid price is higher than the ask price, but that happens sometimes in crazy situations. It's unlikely you're going to get filled at either one of those. SPY just meandering around here right now. Coming up on 11:30, we get the Fed today at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to be pretty cautious right now. I do like the SPY short here. And I did like the PNW long. I took that PNW long for this gap fill play. Again, I think this was an overreaction to the CyberArk. That gave me more confidence to take this thing when it bounced into this gap. But again, the market doesn't give me a lot of confidence right now. So when I get $1.40 profits, I took it. Again, I'm not going to do a lot of trading between now and the Fed. And the Fed, you're going to get. We'll see what the reaction is like. But you keep the one thing to always remember about when the Fed announcement comes out, you're going to get some sort of a reaction. The algos are going to react either to the upside, to the downside. Could be big, could be just small. But just remember, just when the first move, that typically is not the actual move that you're going to get the rest of the day. So just be careful when something like that. And I don't think I'm not really thinking there's going to be a big move. I'm not going to take any straggles or straddles on any of the indexes. That's what I would normally do with the Fed coming out, but I'm not going to do that now. All Larry says the 1day options implied move for this FOMC is the lowest since 2023, according to Goldman Sachs. Yeah, I believe that. I saw those numbers you saw this morning, and definitely it's been declining. And I'm not expecting much of a move out of today. You can always be wrong, but I don't feel strong enough about it that I would consider taking any kind of straddles or strangles on the indexes today. I just my suspicion is it's not going to move much, so I'm not going to trade it that way. But I'm just probably not going to trade it at all. SPY's still coming in here. Got a nice little quick trade in PNW this morning on a more of a fill off this gap fill right here as it gapped up, get into the gap fill. You can see the as I pointed this out, you see the gear moving up here. You see this is the gear with the divergence stripped away. This is just pure momentum, and you see how much faster it came up, and it got right up here above 80 up to 100, but the price didn't move much. This is telling you that the institutions are buying. The price is not moving it up yet, but they're buying it, and usually when that happens, the move occurs. Just like right here, it looks like the move was going to occur, and it's still that way. Now, if we look at the SPY, if you notice the SPY on this bounce right here, but you notice what this momentum's doing, coming down. It went from yellow to red as the market bounced. The momentum's coming down. This tells you that the likelihood is this bounce is not going to last, and it's going to roll over again, which is what I said when I saw this. And again, these things are fairly, listen, nothing's 100%, but these are fairly predictive of what's likely to happen, which is something that it's very difficult to get in the market. Very difficult to get any kind of predictive type information. SPY strangles tempting, 635, 33, 636 for 240. Yeah, maybe. I think if I was gonna, I guess if you're just trading the Fed, that's okay. I might be tempted to go overnight if I was going to do that, but I understand what you're saying. I just don't think I'm not going to touch them. Michael, do I consider the open interest line for an option? Seems VWAP on the underlying might be more significant. The open interest, I mean, I look at the open interest when I look at the options just to see how liquid they are. That's all. That's the only reason. Or if I've got unusual option activity. The VWAP on the underlying is more significant. I think the VWAP is very important on any stock that you trade on the 5-minute chart. It's very critical. Again, I'm just looking at the momentum here in the SPY. The SPY's trying to bounce. Momentum saying institutions selling. Until that reverses, T2104 is trying to bounce a little bit right now, just like it did a little bit back over in here. But again, this is telling us that there's got to be more selling. Say that again about the momentum versus the LRSI. Well, I'm including the LRSA as part of the momentum. What I said was, if you look at PNW this morning, this was a good example because this is what I used. You notice how the momentum shot up here at 10 o'clock. You see how this went from red to blue? All right, the institutions were starting to buy. See how green it says here? But see what the price is doing? It's nothing, not doing anything. So this was giving us, at least giving me an indication that there was likely to be a move to the upside in the near future. This is telling me that it's likely to move up, which it did. Now, it's not always going to happen, all right? But it told me that it was likely to move up because that was a pretty sharp move right there, even though the price didn't move. See, this price didn't move, but the momentum is moving. This is very telling, All right, and then and here it comes, and here goes the move. And now you see how momentum's starting to drop a little bit here. That's what I'm talking about. William, the UK transit issue, technical issue, is getting some chatter that it's a cyber issue. Yeah, so PanW and crowd might be volatile. Yeah, I mean, anytime there's any kind of problems with hacking and stuff like that, they tend to get a little bit volatile. But anyway, I think it's important to understand that this momentum indicator. Like we turn the color so it's easy to see. But this also, you know, this thing can turn blue. See how this turned blue? But see what it was doing when it turned blue? It was just a tiny little move up. That's not much of it. That's just not much of a change from yellow to blue. That was moving down below 80, then moved up above 80. But this is very telling. All right, this move down here in the SPY, this is very telling. It's coming down sharply. It goes from green to yellow, and this is going sharply, and it's staying very right down there. So does that mean this market's going to sell off? Not necessarily, but these are. They can be predictive, which if you can get something to use that you can rely on at least partially for having it being predictive, that's way better than all these other indicators that people are using. You know, MACD crossover it's happened already when you get a MACD crossover. This is telling me that it was likely to still have some selling here. And again, you can't use it as gospel. But I'm trying to work with Sergio at Rightline to try to put something up here on the charts, so we don't have to keep going back and forth. You could create two charts and have the VOLD up there, the $ VOLD. But I'm looking to just put something on the chart to let us know what the market internals are, so we can help us decide which way to go, which trade to stay in, which trades not to be in, etc. Because the VOLD is looking at the whole market. We're just looking at individual stocks right here, or individual indexes. Okay, William, fire in the radar room in England. All right, thanks. UK. Arisha, you sent an application to join Discord. It's been under review for a few days. Yeah, if you're a member already, then you should go into Discord. Just send another one to Rory. Tell him that if you're a paid member, he'll put you in there. And you have VOLD on the left side. Hit the plus sign at the bottom left. Then select quick chart. Then I put my VOLD in there. Yeah, and you can do that. But what I'm trying to do is keep it all in one spot. So everybody who again is not proficient at using Thinkorswim, etc. We can have something like take these things off and give us a level for the market internals right here. That like it just could just be in colors, just to tell us what the market internals are currently. So it gives us a good idea of which direction to try to go. All right. So again, market just very, very choppy here right now. Very, very choppy. T2104 still bearish. Momentum still bearish. Look at the Qs, still bearish. IWM still bearish. All the momentum is to the downside here right now. And again, it's probably low volume because we're waiting on the Fed. I mean, if I look at the SPY volume today, I'm sure it's going to be yeah, it's awful. It's very, very low. Yesterday was a low volume day, and it was 60.5 million shares. Today we've traded 15 million shares, and it's already 20 minutes at 12. So everybody's waiting. Anyway, I hope that little discussion on the the Laguerre, the current time frame momentum, was helpful. Again, it's not always going to be correct, and institutions can be out and then they can just jump in and start buying again, but it's not showing that right now. About quarter 12. A very, very slow day in the market here. You see the SPY is up 0.05%. Triple Qs up to 0.22%, a little bit stronger. And they're starting to move up a little bit. The price is starting to move up. And the IWM is moving up a little bit, but it's right stuck between the VWAP and the pivot point. But the momentum's still showing pretty weak here. We'll see if we get an indication that there's a little bit of buying coming back in again. We're getting a little bit of a move to the upside here in the momentum and in the SPY. But again, we got the VWAP above, we got the 15 there. Certainly not feeling long right now. All right, Piton looking good, just popped out of compression, sitting below the 200. All right, thank you. Peloton, yeah, just below the 200. Nice move up on the Peloton today. Earnings next week. A lot of volume today on Peloton. That was obviously some sort of news on it, because that's a pretty big volume candle today. 18 million shares already traded when they normally trade 12 million all day long. So. Departing flights are grounded at Heathrow Airport. You got some blue here on the momentum on the SPY right now. Notice it's moving up above 20. That's what turns it blue. Is telling you you're getting a little bit of a move to the upside, but it's very small right now. Again, I'd still wait to see what this thing does as the VWAP. I want to look at the option prices. Getting some odd stuff here. Yeah, we're getting the options a lot. This is true for at least on my platform, and I know in interactive brokers, I say it's true. The bid price is actually higher than the ask price now. They're inverted, and I don't know why this is. I'm not sure which would get filled on anything anymore. That's really weird. I've seen it before. William, you believe folks some were not aware of what the graph versus the color chart was telling us, important nuance to understand the predictive nature. Yeah, but then that gets it. You know, sometimes we know blue is bullish, right? But look at this. This is yellow is bearish, but look at the difference in the move in the Lugia. That's why I put this on here. I took off the confirmation line, which was some money flow line, and put this in here because this tells you, I think, in a lot better context what's going on with the momentum. I mean, you know, how fast is it moving up and down? You know, and here this is just chop. You can see this. It's fairly bullish, but just choppy. This was turning bearish pretty hard. Now we're getting some bullish move here because we're blue, but look where we are. We're just touching. We're just moving slowly up. So you compare that slope to this slope, it's a big difference. So we'll see what happens when he gets to the VWAP on the SPY. It's at Schwab as well. Yeah, the bid-ask spread apparently is across the board here on these options. I don't know. It's probably an options a CBOE problem, but they're all inverted. No, they're not. SPY has at least gone back to bid-ask spreads normal. Yeah, most of them, all the ones I'm looking at right now seem to be back in line again. Let's make money off the market makers, Ari. Yeah, good luck trying to arbitrage that stuff. SPY is above the 15, but below the VWAP. Momentum is curling up a little bit. Just not an awful lot going on. The T20 104 is just flat here right now. It's been bearish since about 11 o'clock, and now it's just flat. Just telling us basically you don't want to trade anything right now. PNW moved up, started to pull back again. See the momentum here? Beautiful indication that the stock was going to move up. Was this beautiful momentum lift right here? Even though the price didn't do much, it moved up and went blue, and then it got green right here. Went flat for a little bit, and then off it went. Off this big momentum, and now you can see it's coming down, and it's coming down pretty steeply right now. So if you were still in PNW, you wouldn't want to be in it now. I hope this little discussion on the momentum indicators helps a little bit, because there are nuances in these things, and I try to keep it fairly simple, because a lot of people that when they see it for the first time, the colors help a lot, but red to blue doesn't tell you this is bullish. You look at this and say, well, it's trying to turn bullish, but this is not much. This was turning bearish here. It definitely is. Look at the slope of that. So this slope makes a big difference to what the color changes are implying here. About 10 minutes at 12. The SPY just churning slightly below the VWAP here. Triple Q's bouncing above the VWAP. The logo has also got a little bit of a momentum increase. IWM not so much. I mean, this is pre-Fed trading. I mean, there's just not that much going on. Again, you've got the VWAP here right now as resistance on the SPY. The pivot point is resistance on the SPY. A lot of resistance on the SPY right now. SPY up to the VWAP now as the momentum starts to move up. We're getting a little bit of buying here, but we've got quite a bit of resistance. We'll see what happens at the VWAP. And this is a pretty nice little move in the momentum, telling you there is some buying coming in. T2104 is pretty flat right now. Again, the VWAP should offer some resistance on the SPY here. Gary, excellent info. You like that? Yeah, it's. I mean, there's nuances here. You see the SPY moving up here now through the VWAP and trying to get to the pivot point. We're getting some decent momentum in the SPY, so we get some buying going on in the SPY here, right? For the time being, that's a pretty significant move in momentum. The T2104 is showing a little bit of move to the upside now. And the Q's obviously is looking like this SPY. IWM is not. The IWM is still not showing that kind of momentum. So most of the volume here on the upside is coming from the SPYs and the Q's. T2104 turning a little bit bullish now for the first time in a while. The momentum has been very strong here in the SPY. This is going to turn green here in just a second, and it's getting above the pivot point. So pretty nice turning into a little bit of a long here. SPY just creeped up above the pivot point now. You notice we went green as it moved up above 80. There's a little here. So selling, selling, selling here. Selling all the way across, and then we start to see some move up, and now it's moving back up again. T2104, you know, it's moved up a little bit, but the market's just not doing anything here. Yeah, not really much point in trying to trade this garbage right now. I had the PNW trade. I'm happy, made some nice money on it. Right now, the market's just not doing anything. There's a SPY. There's the Qs. Qs bouncing a little bit. It's a little stronger than the SPY here now. Up 0.3%. IWM still up half a percent. And Q's up 0.3 and SPY up a tenth. Just a very slow day. Low volume, very slow day. You have to be very selective if you're going to try to trade. It's not a good, I mean, it's a low probability trading environment. LPTE, which means don't be trading, or if you're trading big, trade very small. Be very cautious about the trade you take. I like the PNW setup. I thought it was a good setup for the situation we were in, just because of what happened with the CyberArk yesterday and the breakout above the volume, breakout above the pullback this morning, and because of the indicators here as far as my Laguerre here, my current time frame momentum. This kind of told me that there was going to be some moves to the upside, and it was breaking into the gap, so that's why I took that. I haven't found anything else that I would consider very useful. I did trade XBP a little bit this morning. That was a momentum trade, but I'm well out of that a long time ago. I got in back over in here and was able to get out. I think I got out at about 235 or something. So Repton went right up through the 1830 this morning support level, and I showed you move through it. Looked like it might be setting up for long. Get up to about 1916, right to that resistance level, and that's just pulled right back now, back through the 1830 level again. Just very choppy at this point. Gary, so basically if going long you want to see it rising, in short you want to see it declining. Well, or you want to see it pegged up here. You want to see, you want to see it. It doesn't. It may not be rising, like right here. It's not rising. Let's get to the current time frame right here. So here it is rising, but it's not going to keep rising here because it's almost to the max. So it's also good when it's flat across here. That's telling you get your max momentum. That's what these little green dots are, acceleration dots, telling you to get your max momentum there. But the move to it is what you're interested in. You're looking for a significant move to the upside or to the downside, just to identify some of these things. Like this, you see how sharp that down trip came when it went blue to yellow. See how fast it's moving down right to the maximum low. That's a good setup right there for a low, for short. And this is coming in here, and that's moving up pretty good for long, and it goes green, and that was this morning. That's what I look for. And yeah, the slope of the Laguerre makes a difference. The slope, because a lot of times you'll get just choppiness like this. It's bullish, but it's just chopping around. You go and colors are changing back and forth because it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. Price isn't doing much of anything. $12 o'clock, 12:08 right now. I'm going to take lunch around 12:30. Check the questions with the YouTube folks so far. No, got a bunch of people in there this morning. Good morning, YouTube. Thanks for viewing the room. This is the room over here. Not much going on. Haven't had any trades today. Closed out a bunch of them this week. Really, this big one here, the Sarepta one, was probably one of the better ones for the year. We get in for $1.50, out for $4 yesterday. $2.50 profit on a $150 entry, so a lot. But we've run off in July 28 wins and 3 losses. 28 wins and 3 losses. A good month for July. We've had a lot of good trades. Right now, I'm just kind of biding my time until the Fed. We get the jobs report on Friday. Okay, Ram Kumar. He wants me to tell the YouTube guys this is the best trading room you can hope to find. They may think that I have a little prejudice as far as that's concerned. I'm not sure how much credence that would have. If you tell them, that's a different story. And if you get, if you know, if you do like the room, you can always send a testimonial to Rightline, to Mark Miller down there, or you can also post one on Trustpilot. Trustpilot's a fairly well respected site that actually monitors and uh, does analysis on the different trading rooms there are on stock and option trading. So anybody has the inclination to like what we're doing here, if you send a testimonial to Rightline, go to Mark Miller or Rory, or to Trustpilot. That would be appreciated. Obviously, we can share it with more people. Again, I'm not, I'm not a professional presenter or a professional marketer. I'm just a professional trader. So I don't make these promises that a lot of places do with 400% profits on every trade. Ferrari sitting in front of a house that they rented. You know, I'm just not a hype type person. I just think you're doing a disservice to people when you appealing to their greed, um, and not being realistic about what it takes to do that. SPY holding up pretty good, pretty good momentum here. It is just above the pivot point and just above the VWAP, but it's really not going anywhere. And the volume's low today. T2104 is moving up slightly. This is just a VOLD, slightly. Still pretty bearish though, but it's moving up slightly, and you can see this is the VOLD also has some increased momentum here, based on some more buying coming in. Whoops. My WM jump up over 224 here. There's other sites remind you of the commercials that the Wolf of Wall Street used to make. Yeah. You know, listen. This is trading for a living, especially. Um, you can trade when you have a job or retired. You don't have to be trading for a living. Um, we're just trying to get folks to be able to generate some consistent profits month after month after month. Um, it's to me it's a business. You have to treat it as a business. You have to take it seriously, but there is certain criteria that you've got to have to be trading. If you want to take a trade that gives you a really good likelihood of being profitable, 80%, 85%, 90%. You don't want to be taking trades that give you a 50% chance of being profitable. And I know there's strategies out there where they say if you have a 50% win rate, you can make profit. And mathematically, that's true. If you have a 50% win rate and you're making $2 for every dollar that you lose, you're going to make money. So the 50% win rate will work for you mathematically, but it does not work with trading mentality, because anything under a 75% win rate is going to undermine your confidence in the trades. So you're not going to be able to trade the best way that you can if you don't have confidence in the trade. And so it sounds easy to do 50% win rate, win $2, lose $1, you're making money. But very, very, very few traders can do that, because they can't maintain the lack of emotion, and they can't maintain the mental trading acuity that they need with that lower win rate. And that's, by the way, is not an opinion. That's a proven fact based on studies that were done. 12:15. Another 15 minutes. I'm gonna grab some lunch. Again, really not much going on in the market today. I did the PNW trade. I'm happy with that. That was enough for me. Here it is right there, just kind of moving sideways right now. I'm getting some volume here now to the upside. IWM getting green. T2104 is moving up. Last 2 or 3 candles pretty nicely. SPY's moving up nicely here. We're pegged right up here at the max. Getting acceleration dots. Very nice and bullish setup here right now in the SPY. But again, we're just chopping. You notice we haven't gone anywhere. Here's the open this morning. And there's the pivot point, which is right about at the open. We're just barely above the open right now, up 0.2% on the SPY. SPY is moving up and away from the PWAP up toward the pivot point, looking to try to get to the high of the day on the SPY. High in the day in the SPY right now, 636.82. 636.82. Again, all-time high in the SPY. Where did I put that? Right there. 638.67. 638.67. So a couple more points at least. This is pretty nice action right now, though. IWM not so much as a SPY, but yeah, moving up pretty nicely. Q's moving up. SPY moving up. Again, about an hour and 40 minutes to the Fed. SPY stretching out here a little bit. Again, trying to get to the high of the day. Again, 636.82, I believe. Yeah, 636.82. Quite a lot of buying coming in here, as you can see. Nice momentum move. Got through the VWAP and the pivot point, and the VWAP, and still trying to hit today's high. 636.82. It's about 17 cents away. Hey Omar, where can I read more about what you mentioned about the win rate? Is it true that having a 50% win rate isn't enough? Yeah, it's definitely not. And just look it up on the web. Um, you should find there should be some studies out there showing you for stock traders, option traders, about how the win rates correlate with basically their mental uh, trading mentality as far as that's concerned. Now that doesn't mean that no some people can't do it. They can, but it takes a special kind of trader to be able to do that because it's when you have 50% of your trades are going against you. This has with the a thing called the amygdala in your brain. This is where good things and bad things go. This is where your flight or fight um, instinct comes from, and it remembers all these things. And anything that's a negative event for you, a losing trade has a much more significant impact on you negatively than a positive trade does positively, right? So it takes way more positive trades to offset the negativity from the losses. And just think about your own experiences with trades that you've lost and how they affect you. And that's why you need to have a 75% or higher win rate to be consistently profitable. Ram Kamai, you're looking at PNW. Yeah, it's moving up. It's in this dynamic compression zone. Um, I'm not thrilled with the price action here. This was a nice move here, but look at the market going. You see what the market was doing here when PNW was going up. See this big move down in the market. You see what PNW is going up. That's relative strength. What have you got right now? Market's moving up. PNW is moving sideways. That's relative weakness. You don't have relative strength in PNW when you had relative strength here when you're trading it. That's why relative strength is also such an important criteria in your trades. The win rate for smooth profit, the guideline is 75% win rate. The win rate needs to be 75% or more. Toby, you like the analogy because losses affect you whether I admit it or not. I don't like losing, and the more I win, the loser is still in my mind. That is human nature, and that is the underlying reason why these things that go into the amygdala in your brain impact you much more negatively on the ones that go against you than the positive effect of the ones that go for you, which means you have to have a 75% win rate or higher to have confidence in the trades that you're taking. And like I say, it takes a special person to be able to make money at 50-50. I know people that do it, but it's just not normal to be able to do that. 75%, yeah, plus or minus. It doesn't have to be exactly 75%, but it needs to be It needs to be 75% or more. Any strategies that I test and that I use in the room, when I take a strategy, I test it for quite a few trades before I start using it in the room, and I've got to have at least an 85% win rate on my 100 or more trades on it to use it, because 85% is high. And if I have an 85% win rate, I think most people trading those trades can also maintain at least a 75% win rate on them. So that's what I look for. Yes, Sarang. I know people tell you 50% win rate. I'm telling you that for most people, not there are exceptions, always exceptions to these things. But most traders, if they're maintaining if their win rate is 50%, they're not going to be able to remain being consistently profitable. Their confidence is basically going to be undercut by that. Right, getting ready for lunch here. I'm gonna go over here to YouTube and go ahead and shut that down for the day. Thank you everybody from YouTube. Appreciate your being in the room today. We'll be back again tomorrow. We're gonna have the Fed today at 2 o'clock. So just keep that in mind in any trades you might have. A Fed today at 2. Jobs report Friday at 8:30. Both of those are potential catalysts for the market.